Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be for you. Yeah, man, we're talking about telling your story today. And, if you don't know already, story is a powerful, powerful tool that we can use to building a brand, building a business, connecting with an audience. Listen, it's universal. No matter who you are, you have a story. No matter what you're selling or where you're going, you have a story. It doesn't matter. Anything else doesn't matter. You got a story. Okay. So here's one of the biggest things that um, I wanted to talk to you about in addition to your story, right? First of all, understanding the power of story. That's really the foundation. That's the key to this whole thing, because a lot of people are not sharing their story. And what's interesting is that a lot of the reasons why people are not sharing their story is actually all the same. It all revolves around fear. Fear. That's it. That's the reason why most people are not sharing their story. But listen to this. Could it be that it's because you're not sharing your story that you're missing out on one of the greatest opportunities that you have to connect with people? Yes, I would say it is. As I study marketing and as I get deeper and deeper into it, story keeps on coming up. It's all about story, man. People connect with story. There's something really interesting that happens when a person is hearing a story, and there's a term for it, and that term is called narrative transportation. And basically, what that means is that you place yourself when you're hearing a story, you place yourself inside that story. You actually there's a transportation that takes place from where you're at to the story that you're hearing, and you place yourself in that story. Let me give you an example. Have you ever, talked to somebody maybe that, it wasn't face to face, or somebody's telling you about somebody that they talked to, and you've never seen the person, right? You've never seen the person, but somebody's explaining this person to you. And what happens? You automatically imagine what that person must look like. The brain is so powerful, it has to fill in the gaps, and it automatically starts filling out what this person must look like based on the information that you're receiving. Isn't that crazy? I remember listening to this pastor. Every morning I would go to work and I would turn on the Christian radio, and there was a pastor that would jump on, and I would listen to his broadcast. And I listened to his broadcast for probably about 2 years before I even ever seen what the guy looked like. I just jumped in my car, head to work, turned on it was the same time every day, and I listened to this man's broadcast. I had no idea what he looked like, but you know what? As I began to listen to him, my brain began to tell me what I thought he looked like. And you know what's so funny is when I finally seen the guy in his picture, I was like, bro, you look nothing like what I thought you looked like based upon your voice, and just that's really it, just based upon your voice. Isn't that crazy? That's called narrative transportation. Narrative transportation is an extremely powerful tool, and it all revolves around storytelling. Right? This is why people love movies so much and kind of use movies as a way to kind of escape, because they place themselves inside of that movie. They begin to experience the things that are being shown, whether that's whether that's the main character or the villain. They begin to experience these things. So story is extremely powerful. But let me tell you this, in my observation of people and them sharing their stories, we're not using it very well. We're not using it very good. And I wanted to share with you today one of the main reasons why I believe that your story is not being told correctly. One of the main reasons why your story is not being shared, not being told. You're missing out, man. You're missing out on a huge opportunity. And once again, why? Because it all comes back to fear. So I got my little handy dandy whiteboard here. Boom. What is one of the reasons, or what is one of the biggest things that is missing in your story? I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to draw it out. Failure. This is the biggest thing that is missing from your story. Because see, on one side, you have your story, right? This is your real story. Let's just put it like that. Real story, right? And then on the other side, you have the story that you want people to see, that you want people to know. This is the story that you want to tell. And these two stories are dramatically different. The story that is real, this has a lot to do with failure. This has a lot to do with struggle. This has a lot to do with problem, right? We're trying to get from point A to point B. And there's a lot of failure from getting from point A to point B. But there's a story that we want to tell. Okay? There's a story that we want to tell. Oops. And that story that we want to tell is not necessarily the truth. It's a story that we want to be true. It's a story that we want to tell because it's connected to many other things about us, right? Like we want to be appreciated. We want to be respected. We want to be admired. We want different things. And so that's the reason why we want to share that story. So it's really important to understand that, like, it's understandable why you would want to deviate and start telling that story. But listen to this, man. It's all about the real story. It's all about the real story right here, because this is the story that has the most failure and the most difficulty. And this is the number one reason why you're missing out on being able to tell your story. This is the number one reason why this story is not effective, because it's missing the failure aspect to it. So let's take another example. Okay. Let's do this. So here we have starting point. Here we have ending point. I'm going to draw this little thing here. I'm getting used to drawing on this little thing. It's pretty cool. All right. So here we have your story. Every story is all about point A to point B, right? No matter what, you got a story. And, look at any story, any movie that you want to look at, and they all have a point A and a point B, right? Somebody's trying to get from here to here. Okay. That's the whole basis of a story. But that's not really the meat of the story. The meat of the story is actually everything that takes place in here. So we start to see, okay, in the beginning of the story of the movie, whatever, we start to see the character, what they want, what their dreams are, what their hopes are, right? And then the whole movie is all about this part in the middle here. The whole movie is all about all of these different obstacles that they face to be able to get from point A to point B. That's what makes the story interesting. That's what allows you to actually have that narrative transportation. It's not the desire. It's not the point A. And it's really not even about the point B where you end up, because people don't identify with that. It's about everything in the middle that you have to go through in order to get there. And this is one of the biggest areas that I see, one of the biggest problems that I see with people when they're sharing their story. They're not wanting to share that portion of it. They're just wanting to share what they think is exciting, where they're going, how good they're doing, the progress that they're having, et cetera, right? But listen, if you're going to share your story, and you need to, because once again, this is one of the quickest ways to connect with people and actually get them to experience what you want them to experience. If you're going to share your story, then the first thing first, man, you got to be courageous. You got to be courageous. You got to be bold, because all of that stuff in the middle there is all stuff that leads to is all insecurity, failure, problems. Nobody wants to admit these kind of things, right? I struggle. I'm scared. I wrestle with depression. I failed a lot and I don't even know if I'm going to be successful. I don't know if this thing is going to work. Am I going in the wrong direction? Did I even pick the right career? Did I pick the right choice? Is it going to work out? See, these are all the questions. These are all the same questions that everybody has, no matter if you're studying in school to be a lawyer or if you're, studying to be something else, or what, doesn't matter. We all have these same struggles, these same thoughts, these same fears. And it's this in this area, in this middle area here, that people don't want to share. They just want to share from A to B. They just want to share A, hey, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. And B, boom, I got here. Look at me. I'm so amazing. This is awesome, right? Like I got here, I made it, right? But nobody identifies with that. And this is one of the biggest problems that I see when people are attempting to share their story. They're not brave enough. They're not courageous enough. And because of that, you're not connecting. Nobody's really connecting to that. You got to be courageous, man. You really got to see something on the other side that is worth more than that fear of putting yourself out there in this kind of way. And so let me just help you out with this. What is on the other side if you can do that? The other side, once again, is connection, man. Being able to connect with people in such a deep way that it's literally a building, not just an audience, right? But a loyal following, a loyal group of people that are really listening and connecting to everything you say. And so this is one of the biggest areas that I see. I just wanted to jump on here, make a quick video about it. Tell your failures. Begin to share the things that are not working in your life. People will gravitate more to the things that are not working than the things that are working. This is where we actually have that narrative transportation, is in these problems, in these failures. It's okay. Actually, if you're not where you want to be, you're in one of the best positions possible because you got a whole bunch of things to share that people are going to connect with. So let me know. Did that help you? Did that stand out to you? Do you agree with that? Do you think that that's true? I want to know if you think that that's true. You know what I mean? Or if you can see that even in the stories that you watch. Failures, man. You got to learn to share your failures. You have to, man. You got to be bold. And here's one of the biggest things. This is just on another note. One of the biggest fears why people don't want to is because of the fear of criticism. They don't want to be criticized. And so that's a real thing, man. I get it. Nobody wants to be criticized. I get it. It's difficult. It's hard. But listen, it's that courageousness. That's that boldness, right? That courage that it's going to take for you to share your story and connect with people. And really, ultimately, in the end, man, live out the purpose that you were created for. Isn't that what it's about, man? Living to your potential, doing everything that you were created to do. Got to get some boldness behind you, man. Learn to share your story. Learn to tell your fears and failures. That's what people relate to. All right, man. Until next time, hope you guys stay blessed. And I'm out.